Hey friends, I'm going to show you how I make easy homemade biscuits. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to our milk. Then we're going to measure out our flour in another bowl. We're going to do 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. And then to our flour, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and then we're going to whisk that together. Cut your cold butter and shortening into cubes. And then add it to a food processor. This is how we're going to get little clumps of flour-coated butter and shortening that's going to make our biscuits taste amazingly tender. Pulse it together until you have small clumps and then freeze it for about 5 minutes. We want our butter to go into the biscuit dough cold. Then we're going to add it back into the rest of the flour mixture and stir it together. When these little clumps of butter and shortening hit our hot oven, they're going to turn into steam and create pockets in our biscuits. That milk that we added the vinegar to is ready to go in. Remember to reserve 2 tablespoons to brush onto the biscuits later. Mix that together until you have a wet, sticky dough. Once that dough comes together, just pour it out onto a well-floured surface. Don't be afraid to add flour, it's going to be sticky. Pat the dough into about a 3/4 inch thick rectangle, making sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. Once you have that rectangle, fold it into thirds. This is how we're going to get layers in our biscuits. Repeat the process 2 more times, patting it back into a 3/4 inch rectangle each time. Now we're ready to cut out our biscuits. I used about a 3-inch biscuit cutter and got 8 biscuits. Press it down in all the way through that dough, and then you're going to place them onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. Work as quickly as you can so that your dough stays cold, especially those little chunks of butter. Once you've cut out your first batch of biscuits, you're going to pat that dough back into a rectangle and cut out the remaining biscuits. The less we handle our dough, the more tender the biscuits will be, so try not to overwork it. Okay, last one. With your remaining scraps, just go ahead and pat them into a little disc. Look for any biscuits that look a little undersized and just place it underneath. No need to waste. Brush the tops of the biscuit with the reserved 2 tablespoons of the vinegar and milk mixture. This is going to give the top of our biscuits a nice golden brown sheen. Okay, into that 450-degree oven. We want it really hot so that the biscuits will rise. It's going to take about 15 minutes to cook. Watch for them to be nice and tall and golden brown. Oh man, there is nothing like a hot biscuit. I like mine with a good amount of butter and some honey. Maybe you like a little bit of raspberry jam. Okay, time to taste. Just can't resist. Serve your easy homemade biscuits warm. I hope you guys really enjoy these. If you've never made homemade biscuits before, it's really fun to see how tall you can get them, how flaky. Your family and friends are going to love these.